and welcome here to Talk FCB, and welcome back to the channel, guys. The time is nearly upon us where club football is going to be returning, and ahead of Barcelona's return to action this coming weekend, we're going to be talking about what Ronald Koeman needs to do to improve this team. We all know that the month of October, the games we have to come, it's a crucial time for this club, and that's why Ronald Koeman needs to get the absolute maximum out of this team. How does he do that? Well, we're discussing it today. Let's get to it. And in terms of the areas that drastically need improving in this team, I think we start with probably the most obvious deficiency in that Barcelona lineup right now, and it's something that's been very noticeable in each of our opening 3 La Liga games, and it all revolves around that right side of the team, because we've spoken in detail about the struggles, very much so, over the international break of Antoine Griezmann, about the fact that he's had a difficult start to the season, and that confidence appears to be low when he's in a Barcelona shirt, and of course he has been playing on that right side. But it's not all about Griezmann. It's not just about the fact there that that right wing position is a little bit questionable, because you've also got the fact there of right back. That's been a position that over the last few seasons at Barcelona, it's been a real problem for us, whether it be Sergio Roberto, whether it be, of course, Nelson Semedo. There's always been concern, there's always been a little bit of doubt in the back of our mind about that role, and that is why that right side at the moment, that's certainly an area in our team that we have to improve. What I would say, though, and looking ahead to better times, I think certainly Ronald Koeman right now, he does have options. We need to have that balance. We need to have good attacking options on the left, down the middle, and on the right. And I think looking at what he's got right now, Ronald Koeman can certainly improve that area. You look first of all at right back. New signing, of course, Serginho Dest is going to be pushing for that right back spot. He's going to be not only pushing to get in that team ahead of Sergio Roberto, but also pushing Sergio Roberto to be the best that he can be. Roberto has to know right now that he's not going to be in there no matter what happens. You've got to perform to stay in the team. And even if right now Des may be used, he may have to be used as emergency left back for the coming game or so, but after that he'll be pushing for that slot, and that'll help us too. And I think over time, not only is Des going to improve us on that right side, but going forward he's going to be a real outlet, and I think he can actually improve those who are playing ahead of him, and that's really important too. It may be Griezmann on that right hand side. There's also, of course, Francisco Trincao, Pedri, and especially Ousmane Dembele, who's got plenty to prove, and with the transfer window over, with his future resolved, for now, Dembele is pushing for that spot, and there's no reason I see that in the games to come, he shouldn't be getting many more minutes under Ronald Koeman. His time is now. And it's interesting because my second point here revolves around an area of the team that I do feel needs improvement, but it's not one of those positions really that have been spoken about. Of course, we've spoken in the past about that right side. We've also spoken about the fact that we have defensive problems at Barcelona. But one area in particular that in the opening 3 games hasn't been great is all about those holding midfield positions, the 2 players that are deep in Koeman's new formation at Barcelona. And that's one area that I think definitely does need some attention. Because for me, it's an area there that you need to have the best players in. You need to have real quality in those midfield positions, because when you only got 2 of them, you need them to be at their absolute best. And I think, to be honest, Koeman would have expected much more from these players in that area, because obviously we've spoken already about Sergio Busquets, who started all 3 games so far this season, and we have said he's going to need to raise that level. He's going to need to improve a lot to keep his place in that team, and I would expect when Barcelona do return that Miralem Pjanic is going to be pushing him all the way for that starting role, and he is going to be getting significantly more minutes as well. And also, of course, there's the likes of Carlos Alenia and Ricky Puig, who will be hopeful as well of getting some time. And I'd also like to highlight, though, not only Sergio Busquets here, but also Frenkie de Jong. Now, it's surprising for me that I'm even going here, but it does have to be addressed, because he's a player who knows this system well. We've all spoken about the fact that 4-2-3-1, it was going to suit him. Koeman coming in, it was going to help him perform, but actually, he started the season quite poorly by his high standards. In pre-season, I thought De Jong looked a bit sluggish. He gave away a few uncharacteristic loose passes, and to be honest, even despite a pretty good performance against Celta, in the other 2 games, he has been below par. And it's not just us fans who've noticed that little bit of a dip from Frenkie de Jong either. It's not gone unnoticed in terms of his coach, because Ronald Koeman actually singled out Frenkie de Jong after the game against Sevilla to openly criticise him in the public public domain. And that's interesting there, that Koeman clearly does expect much, much more of De Jong. He knows what he can do. And I'd also highlight the fact that De Jong understands he wasn't at his best. He openly admitted too that he needs to do better, and he knows he can do better. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why I'm not worried. That's why I believe De Jong will recapture his best form. He's somebody who is going to push himself. He really analyses performance after games. He goes home, he watches them back, he looks where he can improve, and you just know he's going to be working tirelessly to get back to his best level, which Koeman can get out of him. We know that from their time with the Netherlands, and looking at his performance last night for the national team against Italy, he was brilliant in that midfield, and for me, it's only a matter of time before we see the best again of Frenkie de Jong. And that'll be a massive boost, not only for our midfield, but for our whole team. However, one of the biggest changes and biggest improvements that we need to see from our coach Ronald Koeman in the coming games, and in particular, given the schedule that we have to come, it all revolves around rotation. Because as we know, during the first 3 games of the season, Ronald Koeman made just one single change to his lineup in each of those 3 games, and that was only because Longley was suspended, so he had to bring Araujo in. Other than that, his lineups against Celta, Villarreal and Sevilla, they've been identical. He used the same players over and over again, and as I said before the break, that was fine. I had absolutely no problems with that, given the start that Koeman had, given the fact there that we were approaching an international break. You could understand why he was playing the same players who'd been performing for him up until that point. But when you look now at the games ahead of us, when you look here at the sheer volume of matches that we're going to be playing, we've got to change that up. Ronald Koeman now is going to have to start rotating, because as you can see here, following our game against Getafe on Saturday, Barcelona will play twice a week for the next 3 weeks, playing in total there 7 games in 23 days before the next international break comes in November, and that equates there to a game every 3 days. That means now that Koeman is going to have to be wise about it. He's going to have to plan ahead. He's going to have to rotate his team when he sees fit in order to keep everybody in this squad not only fresh, not only fit, and not only ready to perform in the biggest games, but it's also important to rotate, to keep those players on the bench, to keep those fringe players interested, motivated. You can't just freeze them out, because you at some point in the season are going to need to rely on them. You're going to need your backup players to come in and have an impact, and that's why it's really important now that of course he has his chosen team, his chosen 11, but we need to be including a lot of our squad in the games to come to keep everybody at their maximum. So those there, guys, are some of the improvements that I would personally like to see ahead of Barcelona's return to action. What I would say is, to be honest, given our start to the season, there's not all that much that you'd look there and say, yeah, that's a massive problem. I think under Koeman so far, we've had 3 games, we're unbeaten so far, we've had some very good performances, we've had a very, very solid start in which to build on. Now it's important, with the many games we have to come, all in close proximity, that we play well, that we work hard, and that we make the right decisions when it comes to subs and when it comes to rotation. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, guys. What areas would you like to see improved? What do you feel we need to do to get through this hectic month of football? I will see you soon, of course, with preparation tomorrow coming ahead of Getafe. Stay tuned here on Talk FCB and on More Talk FCB. All the build-up. It's going to be coming, and I am very, very excited. I'll see you then. Thank you indeed for watching. Bye until next time. As always, Visca El Barça.